This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's get to our main event. It's Undertaker Brock Lesnar. As a reminder, at WrestleMania 30, Lesnar ends the streak. That, of course, was in 2014. We're in 2015 now. Lesnar would go on to defeat John Cena at SummerSlam that prior year and win the world title, but he loses it the following year, earlier this year at WrestleMania 31. He's taking on Roman Reigns, but Seth Rollins cashes in and steals the championship. Lesnar gets a rematch with Rollins at Battleground. He's closing in on the win, but randomly the Undertaker returns and avenges his loss to Lesnar, causing Lesnar to lose by DQ and not win the championship. Or I guess he won by DQ, but he didn't win the title. And now here we go. We've got our rematch from WrestleMania 30, a year and a half later. And this is the Undertaker's first SummerSlam match since 2008 and his first pay-per-view match outside of WrestleMania since Bragging Rights 2010. So it's a big deal. They get 17 minutes and 9 seconds, and they're pushing on commentary at the start of the show that Lesnar hasn't lost a match in 2.5 years. Meltzer would write, and he's by far the most over guy in the promotion. While that isn't the only reason, that is quite the amazing coincidence. I just love the way Dave can't help but spike the ball on that, but that's true. I mean, you said it earlier in this show. Nobody wants an 8-8 football team. You know, they may be suffering through it if they live there locally, but nationally, if you want people to get behind a team, they got to go on a hot streak. And certainly Lesnar's on one here, having not lost a match in 2.5 years. Meltzer would say the crowd didn't boo either guy or really even choose a favorite. This is quite the performance. They're pulling out all the stops. There's some fun moments in here where they're staring at each other. And I don't know, man. I don't know that I would have ever guessed that they would have this type of match, but it's a 4-star match and just tremendous. Eventually Undertaker gives him a low blow from behind, puts him in the go-go plata. Lesnar flips Undertaker off while he's in the hold, but then he passes out and the match is stopped. And after the match, they show a replay, which shows the Undertaker tapped out, and they're pushing it that the first time the Undertaker had ever tapped out. And Meltzer would say this was tons better than their WrestleMania match. And at the end, Paul Heyman was screaming no, while everyone was chanting yes. So I guess the Undertaker was the favorite, Dave says. Heyman screamed that everyone knew that Lesnar really won the match by submission. Undertaker collapsed backstage, was not hospitalized, but he did fly home after the show and didn't appear on Raw, which was originally scheduled, according to Dave, but 4 stars. And with this win, Undertaker becomes the first man to have 10 wins at SummerSlam. What a performance here. I mean, crazy good stuff. What'd you think about this one? I mean, they're bleeding all over the places. There's German suplexes. There's F5 on announcers tables. We're doing leg drops on the apron. It's quite a spectacle.
I think that Undertaker, more than anybody in the industry, looks at his performance every single night, and no matter how good it is, even if it's perfect, and sees it that it couldn't have been a little bit better. And he's one of those guys, the reason he's so respected is he self-analyzes every performance. He works as hard as any man alive to get ready for a match on his own time. He puts thought into what the history of the match is, what has happened before that match, so that he can somehow tie that into a story. I think Lesnar is one of those rare beasts that only come along every 15, 20 years, even if that. And he's just an animal. And for those guys to go out and give up their body like they do for a match like this is to be commended for everybody involved, to be respected by every piece of talent that's sitting there watching it. And it's just one of those things that it's as real as anything can possibly be, short of a knife fight in a bar fight setting, being completely legitimate. I mean, these guys pound each other, beat each other, bump each other, slug each other. Everything is so close to the vest that it's It's one of those rare opportunities that you see in this business that is as close to being 100% real as it can possibly be. So my hat's off to both of them. What an effort. The fans are the recipients, and it's just an incredible performance and a hell of a way to cap off the night.
I think it's just outstanding. I think when people look back at the Undertaker's body of work and they talk about some of his last great matches, this is going to be right up there. I mean, this had, you go back in time and you look back in the late 80s and early 90s, whenever Mike Tyson had a fight, it was happening. I mean, America was talking about it for the week leading up to it and certainly the day of. And it had, for lack of a better phrase, that same sort of big fight feel. And you felt like you were watching something special. And you certainly were when it was over.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.